Yo, welcome back. Today, this is gonna be a little bit different video, obviously, because you can see that I'm in a different area other than my studio. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to update your HackRF board if you just got the H4M and it didn't come flashed with the current latest, greatest version of Mayhem. Or if you bought the Clifford Heath 2025 R10 Plus boards. This is going to be how to do it on a Mac. We covered PC. PC is super simple because of the .bat file. Mac is a little bit more difficult. So bear with me as I go through the steps. So first and foremost, you do need a USB-C data cable. If your H4M came with one, use that cable. If you just bought the HackRF board, then you'll need to get a USB designated data cable because if not, it's not going to work and you're going to have a lot of issues. On that note, any of your Flipper Zero devices, your Lily Goatee Embed CC 1101s, flashing any of that kind of stuff, you need a data cable to do that kind of stuff. Same thing with the Ponagachi. Not all cables are created equally, so I can't stress that enough because I see a lot of comments a lot of times where people have these issues of updating and they fail, or their computer cannot read that device. More than likely, 9 times out of 10, that's because of the data cable. So that is out of the way. So on the desktop here, we're going to need to install a few things if you have a fresh Mac OS. This was a new one for me. My iMac or my MacBook Pro 17 finally crashed on me a few months ago, so I upgraded to a Mac Mini 2024 version, and of course I need to install all this stuff. So it's been a learning process because I haven't done it in a very long time. So let's get into what we need to install, and this is going to be kind of lengthy, so bear with me because if you want to get your HackRF board going from on a Mac, then you need to go through all these steps. So we need to install Xcode. So just go to Xcode install in Google, and then it'll take you to the Apple Apps Store, and then install Xcode. And then once it's installed, you have to agree. You have to agree to the terms, of course, because if not, then you're going to have errors down the line in terminal. Once Xcode is installed, you then need to go and install Homebrew. So to do that, you can go to Homebrew right here. We're going to go to Homebrew installation, and we're actually, to make it easier in Google, just type in install Homebrew Mac. Okay, and then hit enter on that. And then when you click the first link there, it's going to give you install Homebrew, and it's going to give you this little terminal code right here that you need to copy. And then to do so, just command space to open up terminal. And let me bring that in my window here. There we go. Now I can see it. And then you're going to hit command V to install. And I'll go ahead and do it again. It's going to prompt you for a password. So enter your password, and then you're going to enter again, and then it's going to start downloading and installing Homebrew. Now we can do brew doctor, and you should get back some kind of feedback or even brew help. And then you should get back some feedback. If you don't get back the feedback and your computer says command brew not found or brew command not found, then you have to go an extra step and you have to go and do this right here on how to fix brew command not found. Now, it is a little tedious, but you can probably get it done in a few minutes. So to do so, you'll need to quit terminal and then reopen it. And then you will need to go and type in brew doctor. If you get nothing up, then that means that the SZH command was not installed. So to fix that, you have to then do and I'll run with it. I'll do it with you real quick because it won't hurt. So we're going to type in git space dash dash and then version. And then we can see that we do have our Apple Git version installed. If nothing came up, then that's where that Xcode comes in. So that's why I want you to install Xcode first. So now, if you have the zshrc file error come up on some of your stuff, then you need to then go and do these following steps. We're going to go to into our home directory. So your home directory is going to be on a Mac, it'll be your designated name / Mac or at Mac, and then that'll be it pretty much. So you're going to need to go into ls and then space -al. And what you're looking for here is if you're having the zshrc file errors or error on your install for brew, then you're looking for this right here, this zsh. If you don't have that, then you have to install that that directory. So to do so, it's pretty simple. All you gotta do is hit clear to clear out your terminal, and then we're gonna type in nano dot space dot zshrc, and then that's going to open up this little directory where we can edit and add in a few directories that we need. And then you're going to type in this, and you can copy and paste this. And I'll put links for all this in the description below to help you guys out. Just don't skip through anything, because you're going to have issues down the line if you skip through some stuff. So add this right here, this export path equals yada yada yada. Just copy and paste it from this gray area, and then hit Control X to save. And then you're going to hit yes, or Y for yes. And then after that, you will be out of there. So let me hit Control X to get out of here, because I already did that. Control X, there we go. Okay, so I did that. I'm not going to do it again, but do those steps. And then to make sure that it was done correctly, then you're going to want to kind of just copy this source and then paste that into your terminal, and restart terminal, and then you can run brew help. And if you run brew help, then you can see here that we have now the brew install correctly done. And then we can actually go into the next step of running and installing the HackRF brew portion. So next, we're going to need to install DFU util. So just to get in there, if you don't know where it's at, you can just type in home brew, so you can type DFU util, and then that's going to take you to the link to install homebrew DFU util. And then pretty simple, just copy that on a clipboard right there. And we're going to go back to terminal and Command V to paste, and then let it do its thing. It may take a while to install. I already installed it. Mine took maybe a few minutes, so just bear with it. And then we need to go and install HackRF on brew. So you can just type in HackRF brew install. Yeah, not HackRF. If I can type here. Here we go. HackRF. So HackRF brew install, and then you click on that link. And you can also use a search bar here, but simple enough. This is just brew install HackRF. Copy that, and then we're just going to go and paste that into our terminal and hit enter. And that's going to do its thing. That may take a while. That took maybe about a minute and a half for me to get that done the first time, but I am running it now. So we should be good to go to the next step. Now, on the next step, we need to go to the Portapack Mayhem GitHub, and we're going to go there to the Mayhem firmware, and we're going to go to the latest. Now, there's two files that you're going to need to get this done, and you need the Mayhem 2.1.0 firmware zip file. Download that guy, and then to get your actual Portapack and H4M running with all the apps and such, then you would need to download the Mayhem 2.10 copy to SD card you want with world maps. It's the larger file. Without world maps, when you go to do any kind of ADS-B and anything that kind of needs a map-based system, similar to GPS, although this is not GPS equipped, but it will give you a map more or less of where those frequencies are coming from. So you want the larger file, which is the 547 megabyte file. So download that guy, but first and foremost, download the firmware zip. I already have mine downloaded. So once we're at that firmware zip, we can then go to that file. Let's go over here to files. And we're going to go to downloads, where I have that at. And you're going to just unzip that package, and then just going to put it right there as a folder. And then we can see that we have these as our folder. Now, to get into that folder, you can do two different ways. You can drag and drop these onto your desktop, or you're going to have to CD into those folders. If you just drag and drop the Portapack Mayhem firmware.bin onto your desktop, it's just one CD in. And a CD is changing your directory from your terminal into a different directory. So just saying, hey, I'm in my home directory. Now I want to be in my downloads directory, or I want to be on my desktop directory. So that's kind of how that works. So just for my case, I'm just going to go CD downloads. And then now you can see here that I am in my downloads folder. Now from here, we can go to utils. And I believe we may need to install the HackRF One USB DFU, or the bin, sorry, the bin. So to do that, we can then go to CD utils, and then now we are in our, I spelled that wrong, utils. Oh, sorry, we need to go CD, my bad. So let's go back out one. We need a CD into the Mayhem 2.1.0 firmware. So just click it and then click it again, not double click it, but just click it and then click it again, like if you're going to rename it. And then that gives you the option to copy the actual folder name. And then just CD space and then Command V there. And then now we are in that folder. Now, once we're in that folder, we're going to go CD utils. And then now we can be in that utils folder. And then from here, let's go to that utils folder. We're going to go to sudo install, and then we need that HackRF One USB bin. You know, we may not need this bin because we just installed it with with the brew install, but let's see what happens. Copy, I can't remember the step, and paste. All right, so ask for passwords, just type in your password, and then let's see what happens. So install command not found. So that's probably because I typed it wrong. So let's go back to sudo install, and then HackRF.1. There we go. So I just typed it wrong. So just go sudo space install, and then the HackRF _1 _USB .bin. So that'll install that package right there. Now, once we are done with that, we are ready to go and grab our HackRF board. We're going to hold down the reset button right here, or I'm sorry, we're going to hold down the DFU button. The DFU button is, this is your SMA, this is reset, DFU is right there in the middle. So hold that guy down while plugging in your USB-C data cable into that socket, and then we can let it go. And that green light should stay on. That's what we want. And then from here, we're going to go back a folder. So CD minus is going to take us back to that firmware folder. Since we're in the Mayhem, we're going to need to go back to Mayhem firmware. And then actually just go, yeah, Mayhem firmware, and then scroll all the way to the bottom to documentation. And then we're going to go over here to firmware updating procedure. That's going to be right there on the right-hand side under HackRF versions. And then scroll down to Mac OS. So here we go. So right here, we've done step 1, 2, and 3 already, which similar to 1, 2, and 3 because we don't have a functioning unit, which is why we're doing all this, right? So it says upload the firmware with. So now we're going to go ahead and copy, make it easy for yourself. Just copy this HackRF _spy flash, or SPI flash, space -W. Let's just copy that guy. And then we're going to go ahead and hit paste right there. And then I'm going to tab over, and then I'm going to go hit space again. And then I'm going to go back to my folder now. And I'm going to go to that Portapack Mayhem bin. I'm going to click and then click again on that to get that name. and then I'm going to paste it right here next to that -W, and then I want to hit enter. Now you can see here that we have an issue here. File size. So we show the file size. HackRF open failed. HackRF not found. So if your HackRF is not found, more than likely that means that I didn't do my procedure right with the DFU and the plugging it in. So let's try this again. Let's try holding that in, and then let me just go ahead and copy this while holding all this. Copy, paste, and then hit enter while holding that. Nothing. If I let it go, and I do that again, then nothing. All right, so let's try then just plugging it in. Now we can try just plugging it in. If it fails and you with the DFU, you can just try plugging it in, and then you should see all these lights on right here. And then let's try running it that way as well. And then there we can see that it erased, it wrote the data, and then we are now, I believe we should be good to go on that flashing. So if DFU fails when you plug in your USB-C cable, and you fail on your terminal, then just unplug that cable again, and then don't hit DFU, don't hit reset, just plug in the cable bare, and then see what happens with that. This was already flashed, so that may have been the issue, that it really didn't need to be in the DFU mode. I don't know for sure why, but this is when you get into anything HackRF related and or the H4M, it's going to be a learning curve for a lot of you guys, unless if you're just a guru at a lot of the stuff. It was a learning curve for me. It still is. Um, but that's the fun about all this. So don't think that this is going to be as simple as a Flipper Zero, where you get this firmware out of the box pretty much, and it's almost ready to go. Or updating firmware is just as easy as an app. For Mac users like myself, there's a lot of needed help for Mac developers. So if you are a Mac developer and you're watching this, please head over to the Mayhem GitHub page and offer them your assistance, because they need it, especially on the app for the actual HackRF app on your web browser. It's not working on for Mac to the HackRF one yet. It does work for Linux, I believe, and I know it works for Windows, but for us Mac users, it's always a little bit more of a learning curve. I know it's part of Mac thing, right? But that should get you your firmware. So again, if it didn't go the first time with holding the DFU, you could try the reset and DFU and then plug it in. And then you're going to go ahead and let it go of reset and then let go of DFU. And then you could then try to do that again, where you paste that, and then you're going to hit enter and file by size, and then HackRF one not found. So if you have those issues, just unplug it, and then you may just need to see all those lights on like that. And then we can then go in it, that command paste and then enter, and then you can see that we're erasing, and then we are on that spy flash. Now, once we're there, we have the Mayhem firmware installed, but that's just the firmware. We still have to go then and do all the SD card stuff. So at that point, just unzip the SD card package, and I don't have an SD card on me for this unit, because this unit is a spare unit that I have, but it's pretty simple. I'm just going to show you real quick what to do, because there's some confusion when it comes to this. So we're gonna go back to, I didn't download this yet, did I? No. So let's go back to that Mayhem firmware page, and we're gonna go to latest, scroll down, 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 down. And remember what I said, we need the SD card, copy SD card package. We need the one with world maps. I don't really know why they offer it without world maps. It just makes it simple just to have it with world maps. Probably because when there's updates, you may not need to update the map packages all the time. I always do. But it's up to you, I guess. Dealer's choice, right? So that's almost done. And then we are done with that. So now I can go ahead and go into my downloads folder, and then I should have it right here, copy SD card. Go ahead and unzip that guy right there. Now you're going to take an SD card, you're going to pop it into your SD card socket or a reader of some sort into your computer, into your Mac, and then open that folder. Go to disk. You're going to hit Command Space. You're going to go to Disk Utility. You're going to find that SD card in your disk utility. You're going to erase it as FAT32. Okay, so just go to Erase FAT32, and then once it's erased, you'll see it on your desktop. And then from there, you can go to that folder of the copied SD card that we were just at, hit Command A, and then just drag and drop all those over to wherever that SD card loads down there on your driver location on your Mac. And then it'll take about maybe 2 minutes because once it unzips, it is a pretty large file. It's like 2 gigs, so it may take a while. But once you're done with that, then you can take the SD card out of your computer, put it into your H4M, and then we should be able then to go and connect our H4M back to our HackRF One. So just make sure all those pins line up, so top, bottom, and then on the left-hand side, make sure they all line up properly, and then we should be able to turn our unit on. And if all went well, we can see here that we are running Mayhem. And if we click it again, I am on 2.1.0. So that is how you flash a brand new Clifford Heath 2025 board or HackRF One board that you got that didn't come flash, whether that was from open source SCR Labs or from whoever. Thank you all for watching. I hope this helps somebody out there that has a Mac that is having difficulties kind of upgrading and updating their PortaPack H4M or their HackRF One board to Mayhem. And then after that, once it's flash, it's easy to continue to update just by copying your SD card content over and then going as is. So again, thanks guys for watching. I appreciate your time, and I will see you guys in the next video.